My name is Kim Elliot, and I teach 10th grade biology at Health Sciences High and Middle College. And today I'm going to show you how I use blended learning in my science classroom. This lesson is about active and passive transport, so how molecules get inside and outside of cells. And the content purpose of this lesson is to explain step-by-step cellular transport. The language purpose is for students to use vocabulary associated with active and passive transport, such as molecules, cell membrane, concentration, to describe a video of cellular transport. And the social purpose is to collaborate with peers to write a script and narrate a movie using Screencast-O-Matic. In this lesson, students learned about two types of transport, both active and passive. And in face-to-face instruction, students spent time developing their vocabulary, and you can see on my Haiku page that I have a section dedicated to the vocabulary, so it's always listed there for students. And initially what students did is we looked at a video of each type of transport. So as I scroll down my page, you'll see one on passive transport, which is an example of facilitated diffusion. And I'll click play, and in this video you'll see that there's a simple model of how things get inside and outside of cells. So this is muted, so there is no sound. And in teaching this lesson, I did a think aloud for students to kind of get inside my head to see how I would narrate this video. So I would describe this as there's molecules outside of the cell, a molecule attaches to a carrier protein, and the molecule is then helped to get inside the cell via the carrier protein. And so the goal of this is for students to be able to use this vocabulary to narrate this video in their own words. And so in order to facilitate this, I provided students with a template. And so here is the template for students to write a script. And the way that I did this was I partnered students up and I allowed them to have the video in front of them. And in order for students to write their own script, I had already chunked the video by time. So they needed to describe what was happening in the video. And this part didn't need to use academic vocabulary. They could be as simple as there are orange blobs or orange balls that are attaching to something and going inside of this cell. And that could be what they write for what's happening. And then the script part, I wanted them to use the academic language. So there's a higher concentration outside of the cells. There are molecules that are getting inside the cell via a carrier protein. And so I modeled how to do that with them. I modeled what's happening and then how to write a script, so the difference between those two. And the main thing is for students to use vocabulary. So if I go to the bottom of the script, there is a word bank. And the word bank is kind of a checklist for students. So as they worked with partners, they needed to make sure that they use the words molecules, cell membrane, phospholipid, etc. in their script. And what I liked about this in the face-to-face part was that I could monitor student learning and their ability to apply the vocabulary to the video, because I would notice some students had a hard time incorporating, let's say, the word concentration. And so if only one group had a hard time with that, I would just go work with that group individually. And then if the whole class or the majority of the class had a hard time using the word concentration in their script, then I would take that moment to bring the whole class together and do a think aloud to help students use that word concentration in their script. So after they wrote their script, I had students get together in expert groups. So all the groups that were doing passive transport got together to do some peer editing of scripts. And then there was also an opportunity for students to do active transport. And so those expert groups got together and exchanged ideas and peer edited each other's scripts. Since technology is being used, and this was the first time my class was using these videos and doing an assignment like this, I provided on my Haiku page some supports. So the Khan Academy has some videos where there is a description of these processes, but it's done in a different way. So it's somebody talking through what they're saying and also drawing it. And so I provided these supports for students to use to refer to if they were getting stuck at a specific location. The next step of this, after script writing, was for students to actually do a screencast where they're narrating each of these videos. So the passive transport group people narrated the passive transport video, and the active transport did their self. So there was some student choice in which type of transport they were narrating. Then you'll notice at the bottom of this Haiku page, I have a tutorial on how to use the tool we used, which was Screencast-O-Matic. It's free. It's very simple for students to use in order to create a screencast. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull up some student samples so you can see. And these are two students that work together to narrate a video on passive transport.
Hi, my name is Alex, and this is Mr. Ketchum Jr. Today we're going to show you passive transport.
What you are seeing now is a high concentration of molecules outside the cell.
The protein carrier sign pops up.
One molecule is about to go inside the protein carrier.
The molecule goes in to the protein carrier, waits there for a minute, and then goes inside the cell. While we wait, this is Arely. Okay, look at her. It now goes inside.
Okay, so that's one group where they opted to include a video of their faces. So what I liked about using Screencast-O-Matic as a tool for this is that students were very engaged. I gave them the opportunity to have their faces, their voices heard. And so they just had a great time while incorporating vocabulary into their narration. And so let's take a look at another one. I had another group that got really creative, and I don't know if you've heard of students referring to parties as functions, but the students decided to narrate their video referring to this process as a party or a function. And so this is what they came up with.
We're going to talk about what's going to happen in the passive transport function.
Right now, there is high concentration happening outside the function and low concentration inside the function. As they're chilling outside the function, one homie says, "Dang, this function looks poppin'. I'm finna check it out." So he hops in the elevator and then he starts to sing. Boom, 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 chicka boom, boom, chicka boom, boom. There I go sliding down this protein. There I go sliding down this protein. Now, the two homies are gigging when little M comes sliding down a protein.
Okay, and so you can see how creative students can get when given this opportunity. And so what I liked about this lesson, and I'll play this just the basic video for you again, is that last year I just used this video, and as a class we talked about it and took notes. This year students were actively engaged using technology to support their learning. And I also really liked the ability to provide supports. So having Khan Academy videos up for them to refer to was also a really nice use of technology as well. What I loved about this is that there are many opportunities to hear student thinking. When they were script writing, as students were working on their videos and providing feedback to each other, I was able to hear their ability or their thought process to describe what was going on and their ability to use the vocabulary. And so I think that this was a very successful lesson. In the future though, what I would really like to do to provide some more supports for them is to maybe make some screencasts that go through each of the vocabulary words where I'm doing a think aloud, because I think that that would provide some further support while also utilizing the technology. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed going through this lesson with me.